All right, diving in today, folks, we've got a really interesting one lined up. We're talking all things project management. And, you sent in some really fantastic resources.
It's a rich topic for sure.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And our mission today really is to kind of like distill these key concepts and figure out, why they're so important, especially for our listeners who are in the world of, information auditing. We're going to get clear on what exactly is a project, like what are the key traits, the defining characteristics, and why are project managers so crucial to, to this whole thing.
Well, you can't really dive into project management without starting with a solid definition of what a project actually is.
Right.
The Project Management Institute, PMI, they define a project as, and I'm quoting here, a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And those two words, temporary and unique, those are really key to understanding this whole concept.
They really are. I mean, when you say temporary, right, that tells us, boom, there's a deadline.
Exactly.
Defined start and end, which means there's pressure.
Yeah, there's always time pressure in a project. And then unique highlights that every project has its own specific circumstances. I mean, you could be doing, seemingly similar projects, but they're never exactly the same.
Right, right.
Like rolling out, let's say, a new cybersecurity protocol across different departments. The challenges in the sales department are probably going to be totally different from the challenges in, let's say, the engineering department.
Absolutely.
So this inherent uniqueness of projects, it means that you're always dealing with unforeseen issues, things you just couldn't have anticipated.
Yeah, stuff pops up.
Exactly. And leading this whole effort, making sure everything stays on track, is the project manager, or PM. They're responsible for managing what needs to be done. That's the scope.
The scope, yeah.
When it needs to be done, the schedule, who's doing it, the resources.
Like the team, the people.
Exactly. And ultimately, the PM makes sure that the project delivers the intended value. And speaking of PMs, the PMP certification, that's like the gold standard, a globally recognized certification for project managers.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, I want to zoom out a little bit here. We've talked about individual projects, but how do they fit into like the bigger picture of an organization?
Well, often they're part of what's called a program, which is essentially a group of related projects all geared toward a common objective. Think of it like a company-wide data governance initiative.
Okay, yeah.
That might have several smaller projects under its umbrella, like data
Yeah.
quality improvement, data security enhancement, things like that.
Right, sub-projects all working toward the main goal.
Exactly. And then you have the portfolio, which is like the top level.
Right.
This is the entire collection of projects and programs an organization is undertaking to achieve its, big strategic goals.
The grand scheme of things.
Right. So you might have projects for upgrading IT infrastructure, developing new software, improving customer service. All of those fall under the portfolio.
So for our listeners out there who are in the world of information auditing, why is understanding this like project framework so important? What's the connection?
Well, think about it this way. An audit is basically a project itself.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it has a defined scope. What you're auditing has a timeline. You have to deliver the audit report by a certain date. And it has deliverables, like the actual audit report and any recommendation.
Right, specific outcomes.
Exactly. So by applying project management thinking, you can bring so much more efficiency and organization to your audit processes.
Like a framework for making things run smoothly.
Precisely. And when you think like a PM, you become much better at managing your audit resources.
Resources meaning like our time.
Your time, your team, the tools you're using.
Yeah, allocating everything properly.
Right. And this project management mindset also sharpens your ability to spot potential roadblocks, identify those risks, and come up with ways to handle them.
Which ultimately leads to more reliable audit outcomes.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about communication. That's central to good project management.
Keeping everyone in the loop.
Making sure everyone's on the same page, both within the audit team and with the stakeholders you're working with.
It's all about clarity, right?
Yeah. And what's really interesting here is that a lot of the IT services that you audit are actually delivered through projects.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so knowing the principles of project management allows you to assess whether these IT products are actually aligned with the company's strategic goals.
Like, are they actually contributing to the bigger picture?
Exactly. And it also helps you determine if these projects are adhering to all the necessary regulations and internal policies.
Compliance is key.
And because you understand project management, you can really evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of those IT projects. You can spot potential risks like budget overruns, missed deadlines, and you can assess if the right controls are in place to prevent those things.
So it's not just about the audit itself, it's about understanding the projects you're auditing.
Exactly. And, just speaking for the project team's language, using that project management terminology, it makes collaboration so much smoother.
It's like a common ground.
Right. Now, it's important to note that organizations structure their projects in different ways. You might see what's called a functional structure, where projects are managed within specific departments.
Okay.
Or you might see a projectized structure, where the entire organization is built around projects. In that case, the PM has a lot of authority.
Wow, so the project is everything.
It's the main focus. And then there's the matrix structure, which is kind of a hybrid of both.
So people might be reporting to two managers then.
Exactly, a functional manager and a project manager.
That sounds complicated.
It can be. Communication is key in that type of structure, but regardless of the structure, the point is that projects are happening everywhere. So these project management skills are broadly applicable no matter what kind of organization you're in.
I always like to think of the project manager as the conductor of an orchestra. They might not be playing every instrument, but they ensure that everyone is working together in harmony to deliver that final performance.
I love that analogy.
And they have to do it on time and within budget.
That's the key.
It's about problem solving, leadership, keeping everyone aligned, all those stakeholders happy.
It's a lot of juggling.
Right.
And a key resource for anyone wanting to learn more about this is the PMBOK guide published by PMI. It's like the Bible of project management.
The PMBOK, yeah, I've heard of that.
And it's evolved over time. The latest version, PMBOK 7, focuses more on guiding principles rather than just rigid processes.
So more adaptable to different situations.
Exactly. And some of these key principles are things like stewardship, building strong teams, engaging stakeholders effectively, and always focusing on delivering value.
Value, that's the bottom line, right?
Absolutely. And, in addition to the PMBOK, you have agile methodologies which emerged in the software development world. They really emphasize flexibility and collaboration.
Agile, yeah, I hear that term thrown around a lot these days.
It's become super popular, and for good reason. It's a very adaptable approach.
Yeah.
And interestingly, these agile principles have even influenced the world of auditing.
Oh, wow. So agile auditing is a thing.
It is. It's about being more responsive to change and having a stronger focus on risk management. So it's a really interesting development in the field.
So let's unpack some of those PMBOK 7 principles that you mentioned. You said stewardship was one of them.
Yeah, stewardship is really about being a responsible and ethical steward of the project and its resources. It's about integrity, doing the right thing, and considering the long-term implications of your decisions, not just the short-term gains.
It's thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. So for you in auditing, this translates to assessing whether those IT projects are using resources responsibly and ethically. Are they being wasteful? Are they considering the environmental impact? That kind of thing.
So it's really about sustainability, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And this ties directly into another principle, which is value. We'll get to that one in a minute.
Okay, what about the team principle?
Right. Team is all about fostering a collaborative and supportive environment. It's about making sure that everyone feels valued, that they can contribute their ideas, and that they're motivated to do their best work.
So it's about creating a positive team dynamic.
Exactly. And open communication is key here, along with shared decision-making. Everyone should feel like they have a voice. And, think about a large-scale technology rollout, for example.
Yeah, huge project.
A motivated and well-coordinated team is absolutely crucial to success. And as an auditor, you'd be looking at how effectively those teams are collaborating and communicating. Are there any roadblocks? Are there any conflicts that need to be addressed?
So you're evaluating the team dynamics as part of the audit.
Precisely. Okay, next up we have stakeholder. This is about actively engaging with everyone who has an interest in the project.
Stakeholders, the people who are affected by the project.
Right, and that could include customers, end users, management, even the community in some cases.
So it's about understanding their needs and expectations.
Exactly, and addressing them
Yeah.
proactively, because if you don't manage stakeholder expectations well, you're going to run into problems. You might have resistance, conflicts, delays, all sorts of things.
So communication is key again here.
Absolutely. As an auditor, this means identifying all those stakeholders for any given IT project and evaluating how well their expectations are being managed. Is there a clear communication plan? Are there concerns being addressed? That kind of thing.
It's about making sure everyone feels heard and that their interests are being considered.
Exactly. And this links to two other principles: delivering value and managing change. We'll get to those in a moment.
All right, let's talk about value then. That seems like a pretty big one.
It is. Value is really the ultimate goal of any project. It's about ensuring that the project delivers real, measurable benefits that align with the organization's strategic objectives.
So it's not just about completing the project, it's about making sure it actually brings value to the organization.
Precisely. And defining what value means early on is critical.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Well, it starts with aligning the project with the organization's strategic goals. What are they trying to achieve? What are their priorities? Once you know that, you can define specific, measurable outcomes that will demonstrate the project's value.
So you need clear metrics to track progress.
Exactly. And as an auditor, you're assessing whether these IT projects are truly delivering on those intended business outcomes. Are they on track? Are they meeting their targets? Are they providing a good return on investment?
So it's about holding the project team accountable.
In a way, yes, it's about making sure that the project is actually contributing to the organization's success.
So to wrap things up here, what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that projects are temporary, unique endeavors that require careful management.
No two projects are the same.
Exactly. And understanding project management principles provides a valuable framework for many fields, especially for those in information auditing.
Because an audit is a project itself.
Precisely. And it's all about balancing constraints, things like time, budget, resources, while staying focused on those core principles like stewardship, teamwork, stakeholder engagement, and value delivery.
Those are the pillars of successful project management.
Absolutely.
And for you, the listener, I want to leave you with this thought. Think about how applying a project management mindset, considering the scope, the timeline, the resources, the stakeholders, how that can bring a new level of clarity and efficiency to your work, even your everyday tasks.
It's a really powerful lens to view your work through.
It can really change the way you approach things.
It can. It can make you much more effective and organized.
Absolutely. All right, that's a wrap on this deep dive into project management. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me.
It was great having you.